Hello, welcome to Stool Perspective, where we give you the booze news of the week. I'm Mike Morgan, and you, sir?
Brett Coleman Baker. Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, it's been a busy week. Bud Light is continuing to struggle. They're struggling on a couple fronts now, so I want to touch on this for a minute. It's Pride weekend this weekend, and the Pride crowd is not happy with Bud Light at all right now because of how much backtracking they've done on their support of Dylan Mulvaney. So not only have they lost the cowboy bars for being pro, equality and doing the right thing,
or whatever.
Now they've lost the gay bars because they've backtracked on everything that they stood for or pretended to stand for. So,
I don't know they ever stood for anything, but yeah.
No, what's it? Rainbow capitalism. They went it hard on the rainbow capitalism and it bit them in the ass, and now they backtracked, and now they don't have support from anyone.
I love it when bad things happen to bad people. It is all such a it is such a self-inflicted wound on every level. There was just not one single act of good judgment anywhere in this whole story. And it's always been one of the most disgusting beers in the world. So, good.
It's a long time coming. They're not even an American company anymore. So they shouldn't even be where they are pretending to be American for as long as they've gotten away with it. So if this is their downfall, I'm here for it.
The fact that they're a foreign-owned company, that when they became a foreign-owned company, started calling their beer America every July, is just disgusting. They're a disgusting company. AB InBev is vile. And so, I just keep your death spiral.
And obviously these are not facts, but opinions of Michael Morgan. So they're down.
It is a fact, though, that when they were an American-owned company, August Bush IV killed a woman. And that wasn't as big of a deal as putting what's-her-name's face on a Bud Light can.
Well, murder is okay, apparently. But being nice and equitable is not okay, apparently. So they're down 28.4%. That's $15.7 billion total in value that this company has lost since this. Now, some of that is stock price going way down, lost sales, lost market share, yada, yada, yada. But $15.7 billion is about what they're expected to have lost. Now, there's a couple things that they're hinting at that they're going to get ready to do. One, they're expected to do really deep price cuts and have a lot of promos. So I think going into the July 4th, they're going to lean hard probably on Pro America. They're going to lean hard on discounting, and they're probably going to see case prices drop big time. So if you don't have any values yourself and you're boycotting now, and as soon as price goes down, you're going to buy it again, you're in luck. If you don't drink it, then it doesn't matter anyway.
Do you think, but what does that mean? Does that mean that Bud Light becomes a budget brand on a long-term basis?
Could this be the story that we're recanting years from now about the downfall of Bud Light and when did it happen, and this was the catalyst, and they're moving from a premium brand into the budget space, and it doesn't save them, but now you're discounted so you can't raise the price back up, and you've basically effectively ruined all brand equity. Could this be it?
This could be it. It was more substantive stupid decisions that turned Schlitz from the second biggest beer brand in the world to a laughingstock and a budget beer brand, and then they kept spiraling down and down and down. So this would be a really arbitrary reason for the terrible beer that Bud Light is to die off, but it could be the reason.
Lots of things happen for arbitrary reasons, so why not this? And they're definitely
If we have learned anything from the past 10 years or so, a lot of things are just arbitrary.
Yeah, and they are definitely capable of making repeat stupid decisions and continuing to dig the grave deeper and deeper when we'll be splashing dirt on Bud Light's face hopefully before too long. Okay, continuing.
Death to Bud Light.
Now, people who are suffering in addition to this Bud Light thing are the distributors.
Yeah.
Because there's hundreds and hundreds of them. Over 500 small independent Budweiser distributorships are all hurting badly right now. And those are independent businesses, technically independent, even though they're really tied because they wouldn't be complaining that much if they were truly independent, yada, 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 doesn't matter. So Bud Light also has announced that they're going to be doing a massive buyback because the sales are down so low, there's a lot of product that's starting to go out of date. So they're going to be doing a huge buyback, I think, and trying to get favor from the distributor. Wherein really, legally, they don't have to do this. I think they're just trying to keep people happy.
Yeah.
Now,
well, I mean, they have such a firm grip on so many distributors, and that is, I mean, that's unfortunate. A lot of distributors, for as flawed as that system is in most states, nevertheless, you know, the distributors tend to be small business owners, and there's a lot of just ordinary, decent jobs that come out of distributorship. So the fact that those people are getting hurt is unfortunate, but
caught in the crossfire.
Yeah, they are caught in the crossfire, and they are largely innocent. But at the same time, you know, they've kind of set themselves up for a business vulnerability by being as tied as they have been to these AB InBev products.
When your cash cow is Budweiser and it's making you a lot of money year over year without you having to do much,
right?
You become complacent. Why would I invest in these craft brands? Why would I take on anything else that I don't have to? Why would I want an import? When Budweiser is making me money, they give me kickbacks. I'm happy. They're happy.
Yes.
And we're fine at the end of the day. Well, this happens.
Yes.
Can you imagine being Dylan Mulvaney right now? A simple thing that you thought was probably pretty cool. Like, hey, they're going to make me a one-off can. I'm going to put it on my TikTok. It's going to be really fun. I'll put it on my shelf afterwards, and I'm going to have this cool trophy.
Yes.
And you are part of the catalyst that's bringing down the Bud Light empire. I mean, that's got to be a crazy feeling.
Yeah, I mean, if it really is the complete collapse of Bud Light eventually, this totally obscure TikTok personality will be in history books.
Her just existing is causing Bud Light to collapse in on itself like a dying star. Good on you, Dylan. So, moving on, Big Beer, the numbers for 2022 are finally finalized. I know we're in almost June now, but this is usually how long it takes. Everything is final for 2022. Big Beer is down 4.4% in 2022. Looks like these trends will continue, but if you could put that in numbers, that's 8.68 million barrels. More than all craft breweries, more than all the smallest craft breweries. It's not all of the craft breweries combined. I think we're over like
Take
10.
out Sam Adams and...
Yeah, you take out a couple of the big ones, it's more than all the craft breweries. But 4% is 8.68 million barrels. That number is just astounding to me. Like 4% doesn't seem like a lot, but that's a shitload of beer.
And that's a trend that started, I think 2018 was the first year that Big Beer was down.
It's been accelerating these past couple of years.
Yeah, and I think that year Big Beer was down something like 0.8%, if I recall.
Yeah.
And so it didn't sound like a big number at all, but it was significant in the fact that hadn't happened.
Yes.
So the fact that it's now 4%, that's a pretty significant trend.
And with inflation continuing to go up and beer prices hitting the macros really in full this year, we're going to see that number probably go even higher for 2023.
Yeah, because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but my understanding of the big beer industry is that because of multi-year contracts on raw ingredients, hops and malt, they really haven't seen the impact of inflation and supply chain disruption that craft breweries have already been struggling with. They're kind of having a delayed reaction, right?
Yes, yeah. Craft brewers will see it almost instantly because we don't have these contracts and we buy on a monthly basis where, yes, you were right.
Yeah.
So they are just now feeling that pressure, even though their profits continue to go up because obviously they see these price increases coming. So they raise prices before they need to, and they continue to have record profits. But yes, they're really now fully feeling that. And they don't even have the option to go back to lower prices anymore, unless they want to take less margin, less profit, which they absolutely could. But I don't think we'll see that.
That would be un-American. I'm Jim Cramer, and I say sell, sell, sell AB InBev.
Over half the biggest craft beers declined in 2022 as well. 29 of the top 50 also saw declines, with half of that 29 seeing high single digits into double digit growth. So a lot of people got messed up in 2022, and I think that's going to continue. And it's not just America.
What's the pattern out of that? I mean, I definitely understand shrinkage of craft beer because just general economic conditions. I mean, now that a pint of beer regularly costs you $7, and people are dealing with inflation and not more money, it's a premium product that's going to see that it's going to take a hit. But are there patterns in who is taking a hit versus who isn't?
Yeah, so it's the bigger you are, the more these market pressures are affecting you. If you're small and you can hunker down and keep your community coming to your community space, which during the pandemic was very hard to do, but now that we're coming out of that, those breweries are proving to be okay. They might not be growing, but they're doing okay.
So the more reliant you are on distribution and wholesale, the bigger hit you're taking.
Yep. And that's across the board. That's not just beer. This is spirits and wine and anything like that. But spirits and wine are growing so much that it's out competing these market inflationary pressures that beer is seeing. And beer's always been the budget brand for any alcoholic. This is hitting Europe and China too. So in Europe, the booze market's down, and strangely enough, sugary drinks and soda are starting to blow up in Europe. And they haven't in the past for, I don't know, but I'm sure a variety of reasons. But sodas are really starting to take off in Europe as alcohol is starting to go down. The Chinese fine wine market's bouncing back. In case your Chinese investments, you're worried about that at all?
Yeah, that's a big part of my portfolio, Chinese wine.
Well, good news for you then. So in Virginia, if you want to get a handle on how ridiculous some of this bourbon stuff is, in Virginia, which they do in Ohio as well, but they do lotteries where the state owns thousands of bottles of the really fancy, hard to get stuff, and they lottery it off. You sign up for it with the state. They do a drawing. You can win the right to buy a $200 bottle of bourbon and then resell it, which is, I'm sure, what most of these people do. People in Virginia were getting real worked up because there was winners of the bourbon drawings that won multiple brands, and because there was only 5,000 or so bottles, and there was about 10,000 people that signed up, the fact that one person could win 2 different brands because they did a new drawing for every single bottle rather than just one, everybody's got their titties all twisted up over it. Which, just saying this right now, I feel ridiculous because this whole thing sounds like some childish ass bullshit. But oh my goodness, are the bourbon buttholes really getting all tight over this?
Well, I mean, you're going to make money on those brands, but I think that I would assume that if you're a liquor store, you're making most of your profit from the fact that you have some of those bottles, as opposed to what you actually make on those bottles. The fact that you have it brings people into the store. And, if they miss being able to buy a bottle, they're there, and they're there to buy bourbon, so they're going to pick up a couple bottles of something else while they're at it. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure that it has financial repercussions to real people, but once again, as you said last week, if you've ever wondered whether you're paying too much for a bottle of bourbon, you are.
Yeah, that is true. The most expensive one was a bottle of Sazerac rye, which on the black market sells for $1,300.
Good God!
For a bottle of rye.
Sazerac rye.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yep. Kind of ridiculous.
I didn't know ryes were going for that much.
Yeah, I don't really know much about the bourbon and brown spirits market, and frankly, I don't really care. I like my Old Forester and my Buffalo Trace, and that's about it.
Yeah, I'm more of an Echo Springs kind of guy.
Well, speaking on your wine investments in China, your wine investments your futures in Europe are probably looking pretty good right now as well, because some sommeliers just came out and said that this 2022 vintage of Bordeaux that's getting ready to drop is the best they've seen in over a decade.
Wow.
So your wine futures are shooting way up. So I know all those investments that you have in fancy French Bordeaux region winemakers is popping.
Oh yeah, tens of dollars. That's, I'd assume, probably also bad news for California, which has had some really bad years due to wildfires and various other climate problems.
Well, it's particularly of note for Bordeaux because this past growing season was extremely hot, which is actually in turn what they thought was going to make it a difficult vintage year. Has actually led to it being one of the best that they've ever had. So, I don't know.
I wish I liked Bordeaux more.
I wish I had the budget for wine.
Well, yeah. Some of it comes in a box, Brett.
I got a couple of those at my house.
Echo Springs and box wine. Just in case you want to be a sponsor.
Switching back to the beer stuff. So we said big beer was down 4.4% in 2022.
Yeah.
The economic impact that beer still has on this country, $409 billion. That's 1.6% of the GDP in America is beer. This is up $75 billion from 2020. So in 3 years or 2 years, it's gone up $75 billion. So that is a direct sign of inflation, of raising prices, of getting record profits, is leading to an increased economic impact. And really what it just means is more money going out of our pockets, but it makes the numbers look good.
Well, I mean, it's also related to the fact that there's around 9,000 breweries now. I mean, there's a lot of small businesses out there as a result of beer.
There is, and that definitely has an impact.
You own one.
I do. We have 30 employees.
Yeah.
49% of all the jobs in the beer industry are from big breweries, though. So you'd have 5 breweries that have 50% of the employees, and you have 10,000 that have the other 50%. But that's great. Together, we still make a huge margin of people, and that just shows that I employ more people per barrelage than a big brewery does. So good on us.
Yeah, you said recently that you actually employ more people than the Sam Adams facility here in Cincinnati.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's crazy.
It takes one brewer to make a whole day's worth of stuff at Sam Adams, and it takes 8 here. Amazon is now going to allow you to buy alcohol by swiping the palm of your hand. You can go.
I require an explanation that I don't want.
I knew that was going to be the case. So you go to an Amazon facility, you show them your ID, you get third-party verification, and you upload your payment information. Then anywhere that Amazon One payment, which is a new form of payment, checkout that you can do, anywhere that has the Amazon One checkout, you can now swipe your palm, and you can buy alcohol. And you don't even need to give
your palm.
It reads your palm and gets your payment information, shows that how old you are and your ID, and you can walk out with a beer without having to have paid for it physically.
I love the fact that so many people will sign up for facial recognition and thumbprints on your phone, and now palm prints. Amazon's going to have all of that stuff.
They're going to have all your biometric data, all your bank account info, everything.
And the same people will bitch about the government. It's not, you don't have to fear the government. It's not that competent. Be afraid of Amazon and Google.
That is very true. There's not much to fear with the government. The government agencies don't even talk to each other.
Yeah.
So being worried about that is insane. So next time you go to Coors Field over in Denver to watch the Rockies, they are going to be the first ones adopting the swipe your palm to pay for a beer. So if you want to spend $20 on a Bud Light and use your palm to pay for it, there you go. FX Matt Brewery.
I hate everything about that.
It's just brilliant. FX Matt Brewery has acquired Flying Dog. Flying Dog is, they use the famous artist that did all the artwork for Hunter S.
Thompson.
Yep. And they got bought out by one of the biggest contract breweries in the country, which is FX Matt Brewery. Apparently Flying Dog was having most of their stuff brewed there anyway. So not really here or there, but them combining forces, they are now a top 10 biggest craft brewery brand by them joining together. So
I haven't had anything by Flying Dog for a while, but I do love the labels.
they are.
Ralph Steadman has a couple of murals here in Cincinnati, and Cincinnati makes a big deal out of all the murals that it has. It does have some cool ones.
We do.
But those are two of my favorites.
Yeah, the Stedman ones are
Stedman
fantastic. Final alcohol news story of the week. Well, we'll do two. First one, Brown-Forman. Brown-Forman started in 1870. They're actually really close to us here in Cincinnati. They're down in Louisville. They started with $128,000, and the whole thought they had was, we are going to put bourbon in nice fancy bottles, seal it up, and make it look presentable and sell it as this nice high-end thing. That first brand was Old Forester, which is still sold today. Mm-hmm. That brand, which was started in 1870 for $128,000, is now worth $40 billion. Ooh. And the descendants of Mr. Brown, who started the Brown-Forman Company, they still own 50% of the shares, which is now publicly traded. So they're worth $20 billion. Wow. Yep. $5 billion in revenue a year. So that just shows you how big the bourbon industry is. It's huge. And a comparison is, who started around the same time was Adolphus Busch. His fortune is only $17 billion. Descendants' fortune, that is. So it's pretty nuts.
Higher profit margins than brown liquor.
Yep.
I haven't done much genealogical research, but I did a little bit a while back, a few years ago, and I was kind of surprised to discover how long most of both sides of my family had been in the country. And it really pisses me off because, I mean, how can you be in America to like the early 1800s and not have accumulated enough wealth that I'm still fucking broke? I mean, I loved my grandfathers, but could you not have made more money?
Well, you know.
Should have been Brown. Brown or Bush? You can kill people if you're Bush.
Well, that's you can do 9/11 if you're Bush.
Yeah.
Sommeliers reveal why you should never put cork back into an open bottle of wine.
Okay. What do you mean? Recork the bottle?
Yep, not supposed to do it. Sommeliers said you should never put cork back in the bottle of wine.
Well, I mean, you know, it's never the same. It gets oxygenated.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
What do you do? They have those...
So you're supposed to put like saran wrap or something stupid, or if you have one of the CO2 ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, the CO2 things are supposed to be the best, right? Where basically pump oxygen out. Although I've heard they don't work that well. But
I'm just going to put the fucking cork back in and put it in my fridge.
You know what? I'm just going to drink the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's the problem with wine. You can't. It's, you got to drink the whole bottle.
Yeah, that's true. Well, see, and the issue is if you're sharing a bottle of wine, one bottle's not enough.
Right.
But 2 bottles of wine for 2 people is maybe a little bit too much, but
yeah.
A bottle of wine per person per night is fine.
Yeah.
That's not health advice.
But it's the rule in our house.
The non-alcoholic story of the week, the Texas Speaker of the House was wasted earlier this week, slurring his words and just being a general piece of shit.
Yeah, I saw that video clip. I mean, there are people, there is a caution there that there are people that say, hey, look, we don't have verification that he was absolutely shit-faced. He could have been having a stroke or some sort of, but when you see the clip, it was definitely either a stroke or shit-faced because he can't speak. I mean, he's making up words. It's a whole, it's entertaining.
Well, apparently Texas has a pretty strong and long history of drinking anytime it goes past 5 p.m. in the State House. So I'm not surprised that he was fucking wasted.
Well, and it shows in their legislation.
Well said. Email question of the week. This one's for you, Mike. Mike, have you ever tried Malort? And if so, is that the worst alcoholic drink you've ever had?
I have drank Malort on multiple occasions, and it's at a little dive bar near me. Actually, there's a dive bar near me that is the largest Malort account outside of Chicago.
Oh.
this little dive bar in Newport. But, you know, a friend of mine, the first time I tasted Malort was in Chicago, and I was with a friend of mine, and she described it as that liquid that forms in the back of a garbage truck. And
Garbage juice.
Garbage juice. It's a very apt description, and you know, Malort, it'll get you drunk.
That's all we can say about that. Okay, well, we also have a podcast where we do the oral history of beer called the Brew Skies Happy Hour Podcast. Check that out wherever you can find your podcast. Go to our website, brewskies.beer, if you want more information. Reach out to us at our email address, which is...
I don't know.
Find it on our website. I can't remember if it's questions, info, or comments.
Info. It wound up being info. There was a whole debate over it. We're not really that stupid. It's I mean, perhaps we are. It's info@brewskies.beer.
Like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Leave some comments. Hit us up with some reviews. Let us know if you have any questions or if there's any topics you want some more in-depth exploration of. But that's all we got. In the meantime, have some good beer, enjoy the weekend, and we will catch you next week.
Happy Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial Day. Cheers.